Warning, this podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis and trans women. If you are genderqueer, gender fluid, figuring it out, anything in between, and feel like this conversation is also important for you, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Jayce reads romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi, shh, don't tell Steffi I'm here. She doesn't know about this. So if you are watching at home, you might notice that I look a little different. It's because I was treating myself to a facial, yes, and you can't put makeup on after a facial, but I was lying there thinking, and now I have some big feelings that I want to share with you. And I know it's the end of the year and things have been crazy in 2025 in a lot of ways, but right now we are entering what I think is one of the most fraught times of the bookish person experience. And I've talked quite a few times about how we treat authors and how we treat the internet space. But I want to specifically talk about how we treat each other. Those of us who are lovers of books, who are excited about books, who talk about books either professionally, just for fun, whatever. I want us to talk about the boundaries that we have with each other. Okay? So this time of year is where we see a lot of reading wrap-ups. And I've thought of three big categories that I want to touch upon. Yes, I know, structure. Who thought? I can do it, Seffi. Shh, but don't tell her. So the first one is, how many books do we read? What do we think of the books that we read? And what are we going to do next year? Those are the big three things that you're going to be getting a lot of content about. And yes, I know I'm contributing to that content, but specifically, I want to talk about the etiquette that we should have when interacting with other humans on the internet about these three things. Now, the first is, people read at different speeds, and you are going to get people who talk about reading hundreds of books in 2025, and you are going to be dealing with people who read 20 books in 2025, or 12 books, or 2 books. And I want us to celebrate all reading. It does not matter if someone read 2 books in 2025. It doesn't matter. If they read it and they were excited about it, we celebrate it. If they read 500 books in 2025, we don't get mad, we don't call foul, we celebrate it. Because for both of these things, the most important is the passion and the excitement for reading. And the person who read 2 books in 2025, maybe they haven't read 2 books in the last 5 years combined. Maybe they finally discovered a way to read that is helpful for them. They discovered audiobooks, or they were really insecure, or they got an ADHD coach and can now sit and read a book. You don't know. You don't know. And for the person who read 500 books, maybe they were recovering from an illness and they were home, unable to do things. Maybe books were their only way of escaping something really physical or emotional going on with them. Maybe they can listen at 5 speed and take in all of that information at that time. Maybe they took speed reading courses when they were younger and they can read just at an enormously large speed. You don't know. And we should celebrate that. Because the only reason someone reads 500 books in a year is if it brings them joy. And the last thing we want to do is shame anyone for loving reading, for celebrating books, and for wanting to share that passion with others. I talked to so many people who thought they were the only ones who read romance, who thought they were the only ones who were reading, who didn't have friends they could talk about books with. And they come to the internet to build that community. They search it out, they find it, they develop it, they build it, whatever. And when you shame them, you chisel away at the community that they're searching for, that they've built, or that they're currently building. And that is not fair. What does it say about you that you want to shame people for how many books they read? Are you judging your own worth? Are you judging your own book numbers? Do you wish you could have read 500 books? Did you read no books for various reasons? Do you just not enjoy reading? If that's the case, I don't know why you're here. I don't know how you found this podcast, but you should find something else. There's no reason to shame other people for how many books they've read in any direction. And just because this is a conversation that gets brought up so often, it doesn't fucking matter what format the books were in. Physical book, ebook, audiobook, doesn't matter. If your grandma read you the book out loud while you were being tucked into bed at night, it would still count as a book that you read. I will not engage in a discussion right now in this moment in my rant about whether or not audiobooks are reading, because honestly, every single time I have to explain it, I feel like I get dumber. Sorry. So, in conclusion, we are going to celebrate the number of books people read. You are not going to ask them how. You're not going to judge them. You're not going to compare yourself to them. And that also goes for yourself. You will not compare yourself to yourself. Full disclosure, I read 80 more books last year than I have this year so far. 80. And I know that there are many people who are in this world, and certainly in America, who don't read even 80 books in a year. And there was an 80 book difference at this moment between what I read last year and what I read this year. And I did. I had a moment of judgment, of frustration, of comparison, of shame about my own slacking when it comes to reading. But I've read 221 books, and that is incredible. And I also fought through a lot of mental demons this year, and I'm incredibly proud of that. And for me, the work that I've done and the choices that I've made that allowed me to be in this much better place that focuses on my health and what I'm doing and really prioritizing the things that I think are important, that is worth 80 books to me. That is worth it. I would not take away my own mental health. I would not take away the focus on my physical health. I would not take away the experiences that I've been able to have this year just to have read 80 more books. And so I want us to think about that. Don't judge yourself for your own goals and whether or not you hit them. If you do, amazing. And if you didn't, did you still read? And if the answer was no, guess what? You can read again. I hate New Year's resolutions. I really do. I think that they are incredibly frustrating for us as humans. I think they are a way for a lot of people to try and manipulate others. And it's even worse when we put them on ourselves. So reading goals are great, but you also have to know that you can't take it seriously. This isn't an order from your doctor saying you have to make lifestyle changes or you will die. This isn't you discovering you have an allergy to dairy and then stopping eating milk. Like, that's important. You have to do those things. Those are changes in your life. These are goals that you have that will certainly affect you. But in terms of reading, this is a thing we do for fun. And if your goal isn't fun, take away the goal, change the goal. Maybe your goal for your reading is not number of books anymore. Maybe it's I DNF every book I don't like by 30% of the way in. Maybe your goal is I read one new to me author a month. Maybe your goal is I want to read the entire series of X, Y, and Z. There are so many ways to have reading goals that aren't attached to a book count. And so if you're really frustrated with your book count, maybe look back and see, what did you achieve? How many new authors did you read? How many diverse stories did you find? Did you make any new book friends? Goals are great. They're wonderful when we achieve things. But they should not bring us shame when we don't. When we're setting goals for things we do for fun, not meeting them should not result in shame. Reading wrap-ups. Judging the books, or our top fives, or top tens, or top whatevers. This is where we have to remember that not everybody likes the same thing that we do. If you are having really big feelings about this, you can always listen to my previous episodes about objective criticism and subjective criticism. Ultimately, all ratings, all reviews are subjective. You can try and have objective things that you care about and you mention, but For others, the thing that you find objective is subjective to them. I judge typos or incorrect, like, world spatial stuff, especially if it's set in the contemporary real world. There are other people for whom that is not a problem. They do not care. And so while I find it objective, does this person have an error or not? Other people don't give a shit. It's subjective for them. And that is perfectly okay. All reviews ultimately are subjective when it comes to judging art. You can have your criteria. You can try and make it as objective as possible, but ultimately, the criteria that you choose is subjective, and it makes every opinion you have subjective at its core. Now, if someone hates a book that you loved, you know what you don't have to do? Comment. If someone loves a book that you hate, do you know what you don't have to do? Comment. At all. There is no reason to comment on someone else's subjective opinion. Now, if you have a problem, they got something factually wrong, there is an error, there are certainly ways that you can comment with kindness or shoot someone a kind DM. If someone is calling out something and they're like, I loved it because it was racist, but they don't say it out loud because they'll never say it out loud. Absolutely. You know what you can do with that? You can block, unfollow. You can go fuck no. You do not have to engage with content that makes you mad. I know clickbait content is incredibly popular. And one of the most frustrating things that I found in my journey in the social media space is that there's one book that I truly, truly, truly hated with like the fire of my soul. And that video finds its way into people's FYPs regularly. It's been a year and a half since I made that video. I don't think about it. I don't think about that book. I never want to think about that book again. And I don't tag any, you never tag authors, never tag authors or people. But every so often that video finds someone and I get a new comment. And I'm like, oh God, like I didn't even mean to create clickbait, but somehow that is like the thing that keeps popping up for my life. Do not engage with the clickbait. You don't need to. It is not worth your mental energy. We're thinking about boundaries. Boundary. You do not have to engage with things that make you mad or upset. You can respectfully disagree with someone in your brain. It doesn't even have to happen on the internet. You can say, oh, wow, that person liked this book that I really didn't. You know what? That's okay for them. We agree on so much else. That's why I'm going to keep following them. Or this person and I have the complete opposite. I'm going to follow them so I know what they didn't like, I will. That is also valid. But remember, the more that you engage with stuff on the internet, the more things like it will send you. So if you don't want clickbait, if you don't want people who think that certain authors that you will never see in the back of my shelves are the bee's knees, the be all end all, then don't engage with their content. Swipe. Do not comment. Do not like. Do not share. Leave it alone. Because you can tell the difference between someone's genuine opinions and someone rage baiting other people. Don't engage with the rage bait. It's not worth it. That is a boundary that I've been setting, and I have to say I'm so much happier. And when someone disagrees with me, I go, okay, is this something that I'm going to take seriously? Am I going to stay with them or am I going to let it lie? Am I going to leave it alone? Am I going to disengage with this person? Is that a boundary that I need to set? Because I'm no longer getting value out of the content that they're giving me. And you might be listening to this episode and think, Jayce, you are no longer giving me value and I am going to unfollow, unsubscribe, on whatever. And that is okay. That is okay. I don't assume my content is for everyone. It's not. It's absolutely 100% not. But what I want is for the people who do engage with my content to love it, to find value in it, to think I'm funny. And that's all right. I also want us to look critically at people's reading wrap-ups and see if people's reading wrap-ups, like top 10, bottom 10, whatever, do they align with your values? If you are looking to create a more diverse feed and read more diversely, but all of the content creators that you are following, all of the podcasts you are listening to, all of their top authors, all of their top stories are cis, het, white, you have some work to do. Now, do I judge people who live in the cishet white space? Do I judge people who I think are at the basic bitch level of romance? Honestly, I do a little bit. I do, because I'm human. Do I think they're bad people? Not necessarily. But if those are their top 10 books, if these are their top 10 authors, if this is what they're feeding me as the best of the best, I might not follow them anymore because they don't align with my values as a reader, and I know I won't get the recommendations that I'm looking for. If what I want from my feed is new to me authors, diverse authors, queer stories, indie authors, but what some of these content creators are feeding me is just cis, het, white trad, that is not a person with whom I will find value. And it sucks. Maybe their Instagram is so beautiful. Maybe it is so beautiful. It's like gives me a little boost of serotonin every single time I see, of wonderfully curated shelves, because that does not happen behind me. Maybe. But then that's the value that I take from them. And I no longer take their recommendations of books seriously. I no longer think about, okay, is this someone who likes this book or doesn't like this book? I look at their shelves. I look at what they're posting. If it's all cis, het, white, I think about whether or not that adds value to my feed. That's okay. And you don't have to have the same goals, expectations, desires from your content that I do. Y'all know that diversity is a really big thing for me. If it's not for you, if what you're looking for is indie, you can apply that same filter. If someone is only posting trad books in their top 10, in their wrap-ups, in what they're reading every week, every month, it doesn't just have to be this time of year, but we're getting a lot of that content this type of year, then that might not be the person who's going to give you recommendations you enjoy. If what you're looking for is indie and they're giving you trad, no bueno. If what you're looking for is trad and they're giving you indie, same thing. Same thing. What are you looking for as a reader? And that's okay. You are allowed to have preferences, but you must be respectful about those preferences. Go back to my first point. And then the next thing is, what are people looking for in the future? And this is very similar to what people are wrapping up their year with. If you notice that people's reading goals for the next year feel unrealistic to you, hurt your feelings. Like, number one, why are they hurting your feelings? Or feel unattainable. Oh, well, I read 100 books this year. Next year, I'm going to read 250. Oh my God. I don't know if I want to be on that journey with you, because that seems like a recipe for disaster. Valid choice. If their goals for next year are, I want to read more trad, and again, you're an indie. If their goals for next year are, I'm going to read the entire back catalog of XYZ, and their back catalog does not align with you. Maybe it's, I'm only going to read fantasy for 2026. And you're like, but I'm a contemporary rom-com person. They're not going to be for you. What are people telling you about the content that they're creating, about their goals, about their priorities when it comes to reading? And take them seriously. And I don't necessarily mean like, because I definitely posted a series I would like to finish and then completely forgot about it and absolutely did not finish those series. And I will own that in a future post or video or something on social media, because, my bad. But understand that even though what we're seeing is a very small, curated sliver of someone's life, it is very telling what they choose to share with you. And if what they're choosing to share with you doesn't align with what you want to see on the internet, doesn't align with what you want to read as a reader, doesn't align with your values as a human, believe them. Because out of everything in their life, this is what they are choosing to show you. And there's so much rage right now and judgment right now and big feelings. I am in the middle of some big feels right now. That is why I'm making this without Steffi. She's not allowed to know. Shh, don't tell her. Your mental well-being is worth more. Take a day off social media. Decide you're not going to listen to a podcast until 2026. I mean, I have some more coming out, so you should still listen to this podcast, but in general. And most importantly, take some time as 2025 wraps up to think about what your values as a reader are. Because if you had no idea how to answer some of these questions, It's really hard to create a reading space. Maybe it's just your feed. Maybe you're a poster. Maybe you're an influencer. Maybe you're just a bookish professional. But it is really hard to curate what you want if you don't know what you want. I also, love a list and a spreadsheet and a checkbox. It gives me a lot of dopamine to do that. So what will I be looking for at the end of 2025 from my social media feeds? I'll be looking to see who had some of the top reads that I did, or whose top reads were maybe my second tier. Who picked authors that I adore, but maybe didn't read that book of theirs this year, or I read that book of theirs last year. Because just because a book came out in 2024 doesn't mean you can't have read it in 2025. I will be looking to see who tries to rage bait other people. Nope, I don't need rage bait. I'm going to swipe real fast. I might even block. I'm going to see who posts goals for 2026 that align with my own goals. Not to compare, but because if I get stuck, they might be the thing that gets me out of a rut. I'm looking for diverse indie authors, which I am. I'm looking for diverse indie authors. That is one of my goals for 2026. They might be able to give me recommendations when they read them. I think that there is so much noise, not just around the holidays, but in the bookish space, in social media in general, that when you don't have a clear goal of what you want to learn or see from your feed, it can get really easy to be overwhelmed by the insanity. It can be really overwhelmed to be overwhelmed by the noise. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of posting. There's a lot of stuff. It's part of the reason why one of the things on social media I did in December, or I'm doing in December, kind of in the middle of it, is opening up advent calendars. It has nothing to do with books. It honestly has nothing to do with Christmas either. But it brings me joy and is something a little bit different and hopefully a bright spot in someone's day. Because this time of year is really hard for so many of us for a myriad of reasons. And the last thing that your bookish space needs to be is another thing that is hard for you. And the last thing that you need to do is make someone else's bookish space a hard place for them to be. So these are my rants. These are my big feelings about boundaries that we should be setting at the end of 2025 so that we all are doing better, so that we're all being kinder, and so that when 2026 starts, we're standing a little bit stronger in our own intentions. Now, like I said, don't tell Safi. She doesn't know I'm here. Shh. But I'm really glad that you are. Thank you. Jayce Reads Romance is a 3 Paws Productions podcast. Produced by Seffi, edited by Michael Achenbach. Our theme song is written and performed by Diana Weishauer. For show notes and more, head to www.jaycereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE Reads Romance. Follow us on socials at Jayce Reads Romance everywhere. For more exclusive content, visit us on Substack, where you'll find extended episodes, bonus episodes, and more. Have a question, story, or a book recommendation you know I'll love? Email Jayce at jaycereadsromance.com or call and leave a voicemail at 661-JAYCE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. And as always, this is Jayce, holding space for you.